Hi, I'm Sarah.
I'm Kat.
And we are Songwriting for Music Educators. Welcome to our YouTube channel. And today we're going to be talking about the 5 things that your song is missing. Let's get to it.
Okay. What's the first thing that we're going to talk about?
Okay. Let's first say that this has come from mine and Kat's years of teaching young songwriters, both at the high school and collegiate level. And when we coach young songwriters and we work with more advanced songwriters, things that we find that are missing in songs are kind of common across the board. So these are the 5 things that we find might be missing from songs of the people that we work with, but it might be different depending on what style of music you're writing and what you're writing for.
And if you're an educator, these are things to look for in your students' songs to help them be better.
Mm-hmm. So the first thing that I typically see is an inconsistent story. What do I mean by this? Well, it's not just the story that the lyrics are telling, it's really the overall story of the song. Where is the song taking us? What is the mood of the song? What is the heart of the song? And does everything work together to present that final product? I find that some of my students will throw every idea they have at a song, and in the end, what you have is 5 different songs kind of pieced together.
Yeah.
And it doesn't make sense in terms of story and consistency. And so that's the biggest thing, is just really tightening up what is the story supposed to, or tightening up what is the song supposed to be doing? What is the purpose of the song? What is the mood? What is the story that you're telling? And is that shining through?
The second thing is uninteresting rhymes and uninteresting rhyme schemes. Right? It you?
Yes, I have the most uninteresting rhymes. This is my kryptonite.
Well, and I think it's really easy to fall into patterns, right? Because we get used to kind of cliche rhymes or inch, pinch, winch, like any of these, I don't know which, but if I take inch and then rhyme it with which, they both have an I sound, but it kind of makes it more interesting, right? So there are ways to use rhymes more interestingly against each other, but also between the sections of your song. So if you have a rhyme scheme in your verse that's A, B, C, B, don't use that same rhyme scheme in your chorus. Use A, B, B, and kind of break up the patterns. We as humans like patterns, but if the pattern becomes too repetitive, we kind of check out and get bored. So looking at uninteresting rhymes and finding ways to make them more interesting.
I like that, Kat. I never thought about that. Maybe we should buy a bat.
And a fuzzy orange tabby cat.
Or a top hat. Anyway, yes, I am guilty of the uninteresting rhymes. And I also love how you talk about putting rhymes in the center of your phrase as well. They don't just have to go at the end. So definitely you can take your song and do a whole rhyme revisit and see that the song is a lot stronger in the end.
The third thing your song might be missing is melodic shifts. So, and that is simply, is the melody moving differently in each section of your song, right? So if your melody in your verse kind of has an upward motion, like if you were to kind of connect the dots of the melody, it would kind of move upward. And then maybe your chorus also goes upward and your bridge also goes upward, and they all have kind of the same pitch set. That isn't the most compelling way that your melody could go to engage with the audience. So if in your verse your melody goes up, you might choose to have the melody in the chorus start high and then go lower. And then maybe in your bridge, it's more static. One of my favorite examples of this is actually Taylor Swift's Shake It Off, because the harmonic motion is really fairly simple. But what she does with the melody on top of it and the rhythms of the melody, if you go check it out, none of her phrases actually start on the downbeat until you get to the bridge. And at that point, it's a rap. So it's a super interesting rhythm and melodic shapes, but also just where they are in the bar line. And it's just really compelling. So.
Yeah, and I think the payoff always happens when there's just something that's contrasting, right? I think of Molly Birch's Made of Glass and how the verse has a wide melodic range, and then when you get to the chorus, it's all one note.
Oh, really?
And normally you hear the opposite, right? You hear a less expansive verse and a more expansive chorus. So whatever you decide, having some type of shift might be what your song needs to take it from good to great. The fourth thing that your song might be missing is some connective tissue. Here's what we mean by this. You have a verse or you have a chorus, or let's say you just have an A section and a B section in your song, but it might be missing those sections that really tie everything together. So we're talking about pre-chorus that really leads into the chorus payoff, post-chorus that extends the chorus and brings it back down, or even a bridge that can serve as a bridge with new material and kind of a sonic break for your ears towards the end of a song. And so if your song feels like it's just missing something, it might mean that you're missing some of the connective pieces that you need to make your song really great.
And not all songs will need these pieces, right? I think the tricky part is figuring out, is it the structure of my sections that aren't doing their job the way I need them to? Like my last line of my verse isn't getting me into my chorus, but there's not really anything else I want to say. Or is it, I have this piece and I have this piece, and I really need to figure out how to get from here to here, and it definitely needs something to get me there, right? And I think you have to really look at your own individual writing and songs to figure out when you actually need one, and sometimes even taking them out, because some songs will have things in them that aren't functioning the way they actually need to be functioning, right?
Yeah, and so thinking about the parts of your song and how they're sewn together, or what that connective tissue is, it could even be a few chords that lead into each section, or it could be a pause. And so really think about those connection points between sections as making your song great. And that kind of leads us to number 5. What your song might be missing is space. I think we tend, are you getting space from me?
I'm trying,
I think we tend to err on the side of putting more into a song than it needs, and forgetting that sometimes it's not that it needs something else, it actually needs things to be taken away.
Yeah. And also that space provides the ability for us to hear what has just been said or played. And I think when we don't have that space, we can't process what we've heard. And some songs naturally have more rhythmic and they have just a lot more going on. And so a space doesn't have to be long, but it needs to be present.
Yeah,
right?
There needs to be space. And you can think about this at the arrangement level, right? So does every instrument need to be playing all the time? Probably not. Or vocally, where there are opportunities for space in your melody or in your rhythm or just in how you're delivering the song itself. And so looking at your song, ask yourself, are there areas where you need to add in more space or take things away so that the things that are essential to the song can really shine? Well, that's it for today. Those are 5 things that your song might be missing that could take it from good to great. We hope you enjoyed this video.
And go check out all of our materials online and on our website.
Yeah, and if you want to dive deeper, we have some great courses available as well. We'll see you on the next video.
Happy songwriting.